Hi, and welcome to episode 137 of the Heartland Knits podcast. My name is Vicki, but you can find me as Heartland Knits on Ravelry and Instagram. And today is Sunday, February 21st, 2016. Last week's show, episode 137, went up really late. I apologize about that. I was dealing with technical stuff. I'm trying to get a video in there, and it just didn't happen. So I eventually just put it up on Friday, kind of how it was. Anyway, but I almost thought, well, maybe I shouldn't record then today, but I have kind of epic show and tell to show you. So, and a little bit of knitting too. So let me start out with what's on my needles. Quickly, I will kind of just hold up and show you my pelerine. I got to a point kind of when I got to the length that I wanted, I had to do a little bit of kind of figuring out what I wanted to do for the edging. So I think I have kind of turned the corner and figured out what I want to do. I'm going to do an applied edging at the very bottom, and so I've just kind of started that. These are the stitches on my of the bottom of the shawl, and this is just my little lace edge. So it's hard to kind of show because that project needed a little bit of thought and to figure out what I wanted to do. I started something new. I have the bohus on the needles, and I did work on that a little bit, but I just wanted something a little more interesting, a little more fun to work on, and kind of my go-to is a lace shawl. That's my favorite thing to knit is lace, and so I thought I would do a little Bouquet shawl. A lot of hers kind of start out with stockinette or garter kind of at the top, and then they have like a fancy edging. And this is one of those. I just kind of reworked it to do lace kind of all the way down. And so this is what I worked on most of the week. This is hand spun. You can sort of see with the variation sort of in the yarn. And this is some hand spun that I spun last August or September, somewhere in there. I know I bought the fiber when I was at Meg Swanson's knitting camp last July, which I got the notification on Tuesday. Tuesday was a really good day, but I received my notification that I got in to knitting camp for next summer. So I'm like really happy. You register and you sign up and you kind of hope you're sort of planning on going, but until you get that email saying you are in, you never know. So it was a relief to get that. But I know I bought the roving for this. It is 100% BFL, but this was from Sun Valley Fibers, and it was the color called Oceanic, I think. But it's really pretty, kind of greeny blue. It's just the color I need for this time of year. And I love how it came out. So this yarn I spun last fall, and I think I did one strand. It's a 2-ply. I did one strand just straight from the braid, and then one strand I carded with a little bit of silk. When I spun this, I thought I was making sock yarn. So I added that little bit of silk to kind of give it a little more strength. And, this year I'm not knitting socks. But it was sitting there and it was so pretty. And that's why I thought, well, I'll make it a little shawl. And so I think the silk is going to make it like nice. I have a little bit of sheen, not much, but kind of nice drape kind of when it opens up. It's a probably light fingering weight, and I'm working it on size 6 needles, 4 millimeter. And I am actually at the point where I've started binding off. So I knit the whole thing. It was about 400 yards. So that just kind of tells you how much, but I am at the point where I'm doing the little picot bind off. I, just started that. But so that is what I'll probably be working on this afternoon. And it's nice to have just like a little project, kind of quick, quick knit, get it done. I did extend the length down on this a little bit. The pattern calls for adding beads, and I've knit this pattern before and added the beads. This time I just didn't. I don't have a bead store kind of really close, and I wanted to be working on this. I didn't want to be waiting for like beads to get delivered or anything. So anyway, that was kind of my main knitting, like what I worked on this week. So off the needles, I don't have like a proper new thing off the needles, but I thought I would just tell you what I'm wearing today. This is my Moon Dance shawl, designed by Jenna from Retro Lemon. Jenna Retro Lemon. She used to have the Retro Lemon podcast, but she designed this a couple years ago, and I knit it out of Lisa Sousa sock merino in the jonquil color. And it's a little looking a little bit paler in the monitor than it does in real life. It's kind of a real kind of daffodil sort of yellow, which this is the time of year when I need the yellow. I need the bright green and the yellow and the pretty colors. But I put it on this morning. I thought I'm going to show you the kind of I like, this kind of new way that I kind of worked out to by accident to wear this. And this is like a long crescent that here, I'll undo it. So it's a long crescent. It has these long wings. And I kind of found this just by accident. If I kind of twist these ends together, here, I'll do it the other way around. If I just twist this, the tails together, and I kind of was doing this, I was going to be, I was trying to take a picture or something, and the ends kept falling off my shoulders, and I didn't have a pin or anything, right there, and I just kind of twisted them and threw it, on the back of me like that, and it stayed. And then when I saw it in the mirror, I thought, oh, I really like that. So I've been wearing it like this this morning. But anyway, that's all I have for off the needles. But I do have some new imaginating. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and thought of a pattern that you saw years and years ago, and then just became obsessed with it? That's what happened to me this week. I haven't thought about any of this shawl or other patterns by this designer in years. And all of a sudden, I just woke up out of the clear blue and thought of it and thought, I need it. I need that. I need to knit that. And what this is, it's called the Bird Shawl. It's by Crystal Sayforth. And it's this really beautiful stranded shawl with kind of birds and leaves. I don't have anything like it. I really think I need it. So I became fairly obsessed with it. All her patterns are pretty. She's got a big shawl that has kind of big and little poppies. That's really, really pretty too. But anyway, that's been my imaginating kind of all week. So for show and tell, I have a bunch of stuff, and I thought I'm just going to kind of quickly put this in. I'm going to try to back up, so hopefully you'll be able to see. I've never knit on the podcast before, But, last week I was trying to do a video, and so I thought about, well, I could try to do a video. Somebody asked in the Ravelry group about what I called the untensioned continental. If you haven't seen last week's show, I talked about sort of the way I do stranded knitting. And I said that I knit untensioned continental. And she said, what is that? And basically what that is I throw with my left hand. It's not anything like fancy. Some people say, oh, that's painful to watch or whatever. I don't care. It works for me. And this is like small movements because, and I'm sitting, it looks like it's light here, but it's actually dark in this corner. So, but I can knit other ways, but this is the way I taught myself, and it is the most, comfortable for me to do. I don't tension my yarn at all, and I'm like throwing it with my left hand. I also I kind of studied the movements that I did earlier today, and I kind of wrap it, and then I kind of hold it with my index finger of my right hand when I finish the stitch. But I sort of at some point thought I don't really care if it's kind of not how most people knit. Everybody has their own style, and my wrists stay like really, really quiet. Like I've seen some people where their wrists are flicking back and forth all the time, and I think with how much I have knit for as long as I've knit that I haven't had wrist problems. I don't really care if if you don't want to watch me, don't. So it's like a small movements, and I drop the yarn every time, but I can still knit pretty fast. I'm not Hazel Tyndall. I don't knit that fast, but my knitting style is similar to how, if I'm on straight needles, it's similar to how people like her who do kind of like the Shetland Island knitters who use knitting belts keep one needle stationary, but mine happens to be my needles aren't kind of this way, they're more like this. So when I have a straight needle, I have it sitting on my left hip, and it keeps it like stationary, where this one I hold on like with my little finger, because I'm letting go. Anyway, I don't know if that helped, but on to other things, because I have much show and tell to show you. Let me take a drink of chai first. So last week, I think I told you that I hadn't gone to Ravelry in a while, and when I went last Sunday, I had a whole bunch of messages, and one of them was from Josh, Auricula82, who does the Dairyland Knits podcast, which if you haven't watched that, I highly recommend his podcast. I've met him at several different knitting retreats, and he had been at the January Thaw Retreat, which is put on by Sun Valley Fibers at the end of January. And I, didn't go. Sometimes it's hard I understand why they have really long lead times, for signups for the retreats. I understand it's not like they're, they have other jobs and things that it takes a long time to plan things. But sometimes it's just kind of, I can't deal with thinking that far out. So anyway, I had a message from Josh who said, we all missed you at the retreat, and I have some yarny stuff to send along to you, and, ask for my address. And I couldn't think of what it could possibly be because what I did think was, just from looking at the pictures that people were posting on Instagram from the retreat, there was a lot, it seemed to me that there was a lot of kind of mini skein swapping going on. And I'm not doing one of those blankets, so I don't, especially collect the mini skeins, but I thought maybe there were Kid Silk's mini skeins or something, because I love Kid Silk's, and it seems like not a lot of people do anymore. I know Josh doesn't. He did a part of a shawl and just did not like working with that yarn at all. So anyway, I just thought it must be something like that. Or, maybe he got a door prize or something that he didn't like the colors. I don't know. So I said, okay, and I sent the address. And so Tuesday, the mailman left a box by the front door. I was thinking it's going to be a couple mini skeins or something, that it would be something that would just be in an envelope. But it was this box, and it was a pretty good size box too. And I saw it and I thought, well, what could be in there? I thought, well, he must have just had, that was like the only box that was around or whatever. So I picked up the box, and it was heavy. I thought, well, I wonder, they must have had, something like a mug or something, or whatever that was from the thaw, that was like in the goodie bag or something. I thought, this can't be filled with yarn. I'm going to try to get through this. So I opened it up, and it was full of yarn. And I don't mean mini skeins. It was full of yarn. It like literally took my breath away. And there was a card, and I opened, from Jeanette, that said, we all missed you. We wanted to send you a bouquet, and so here's a yarn bouquet. So this, I posted the picture on Instagram, and so this is my yarn bouquet. It's a yarn bouquet. I literally sat with all of these in my arms, hugging them for at least an hour, and I'd look down and I'd like, what's this one? What's this one called? This is all Jeanette's yarn. This is Sun Valley Fibers yarn. It's MCN. It's so beautiful. I still look at this in just complete and utter disbelief that it's so beautiful. And I'll hopefully these colors will come up. I did take a picture outside and I posted, and but it is like a bouquet. It's got the pink flowers, and it's got like this little bit of silver, like when you kind of plant a flower pot or window box or whatever, you put a little bit of kind of silver dusty miller in to kind of set everything else off. It's, got this like green, and then kind of these colors are almost like terracotta-y kind of colors, and it's so beautiful. So I wrote to Jeanette and thanked her, and just was completely overcome. I don't know. I asked her who else kind of was involved in sending this. I know Josh. It came from Josh. He sent it, and nobody's talking. So I don't know. Whoever was, thank you. It just. It's so beautiful. So all of these colors, so I'm going to go through and tell you, like all of these colors. This one in the middle here is called Fire Witch. I have a whole sweater's worth of this that is waiting to be knit. This one is called Blush, and I think I need a whole sweater's worth of that too. You know, I've seen Jeanette's yarns because she lives, in this area, so she vends at a lot of the events around here, and she vends at knitting camp, and has such a beautiful display. If you've ever gotten to see her booth at some event, this like beautiful display of all the colors. She groups them by yarn, and then it kind of runs through the rainbow of colors. And so you'll look at like all the pinks or all the blues or whatever. So I knew she had this color, but when you're like looking at all of it, I kind of always go for like the bright ones or something. But then when I had these all kind of separate, I looked at it and thought, this has got to be the most perfect pink there ever was, because it's not so like baby pink. It's not too mauvey. It's like the perfect pink. So this green that goes with all of them is called Whimsy. The silver is Quicksilver, which is another one I have thought often about doing a sweater's worth of. This one is called Moody. And then this over here is Vermilion. Cactus Bloom, which is another really pretty one. Well, they're all pretty. And this is Adornment. So it's just beyond words. So I looked at this and thought, what am I going to knit out of this? It would be so pretty to do something sort of with all of the colors and do something like color work-ish, incorporating them all. That would be really fun. And that might be something that I play with kind of in the summer when I can sit out on the porch. It also, I thought, well, there's 8 skeins. I could do 8 different shawls, It's about the same size, as the shawl that I knit last week. Or I could do kind of 2 color shawls because they all blend so pretty. Like, look how pretty those 2 would be, and those 2 or those 2, or 3 color shawls, or like Latvian mittens, or just the possibilities are endless. So thank you, Jeanette, Josh, and everybody from the January thaw. I'll just put it that way. I don't feel worthy that this was sent to me at all. It's completely overwhelming, but thank you. It's so beautiful. So that arrived on Tuesday, and I got into camp. That came in the morning, and then I got into my notice that I got into camp in the afternoon, and then another thing arrived kind of late in the day. The UPS guy comes kind of late, and after I finished Rona, which I showed my finished Rona a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, which was sort of 4.5 years in the making. It was not 4.5 years of solid knitting. There were, long stretches where it was never, like, not one stitch was done on it. But still, it felt like a little monumental that I finally got it finished. But I thought that finishing Rona was kind of deserving of new shoes. So I treated myself to a new pair of shoes. The sort of spring summer Fluvog shoes, that whole line is beyond beautiful. I think it's the best line that ever since I've kind of been watching, these shoes. There are so many that I would love to have. I can't have all of them that I want to have. But when I saw this one, I knew I had to have it like right off. if you're on my Instagram, you know that for the last 2 years on the first of the year, I do what they call a flu flower, which is you kind of line all the shoes up in a circle so that of the collection. And when I did that this year, I noticed kind of right away that there was kind of one part of, if you look at it like a color wheel, there was one color kind of family that was not represented at all. And so that was kind of going to be one of my goals, was to sort of like fill in the gaps. And the colors that were kind of absent are green, which they just don't seem to ever have green flu bugs. But the other color was sort of in the yellows to oranges. And so when I saw these come out, I was like, okay, I need these. So these are my new shoes. I'm gonna like put them back. The color's not coming up quite right. It's washing it out a little bit. I took a picture and put it on Instagram that's really true to color, and so I will put that in. But these are called the Clio, and they are in the Fellowship family. That means it's this particular style with this kind of a heel, like on this kind of sole. I wore these this morning. It says old friends are good friends, which is fellowship one with another. But I just saw these, and the color is, it's kind of the yellowy gold of the yellow stripe on the street, that when it's painted on the street, or somebody called it Cheeto colored, but I love them so much. But they're low and they're really, really super comfortable. So they are my like sunshine. Yeah, so Tuesday was quite the day. I was a little afraid the next day that I didn't want to leave the house, or I was gonna, like, something like totally bad. There was such a good day Tuesday that Wednesday the bottom was going to drop out, and I was gonna, get in a car accident, or fall in the bathtub or something like horrible was going to happen. But anyway, so that is all that I have for you this week. I hope you are all hanging on and having a good end of February. Next week is still going to be the last week of February, and then we can start heading towards spring. But I hope you all have a really great week, and until I see you then, from my heart to yours, happy knitting.